Hello everybody, it's me Martin, and I'm here to talk about the PS Plus games for January 2021. We have a new year, exciting. I'm excited to see what PS Plus games we got, but it's a massively disappointing month for PS Plus games. First off, let's talk about Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I was hoping this game was going to be good because I really like the first two Shadow of the Tomb Raider games, but this one just sucks. First of all, Shadow of the Tomb Raider is a third-person action like game with a semi-open world, and first of all, let me say what's good about it. It's got good graphics, as you can see. It's got a very fun stealth, and it has some good movement and climbing. That's it. There is a lot wrong with this game, and first, let's start off by talking about the story and the characters. Oh my god, you guys, such incredibly boring and uninteresting characters. The characters, none of them left an impact or were in any way memorable. The story is very, very forgettable. And you have this lame-ass villain that, like, barely leaves any impact or has any memorable moments whatsoever. He's just a little turd. Who cares about him? And the skill tree is also pretty messed up. There's nothing really interesting. I like the way it looks, but like it's a little complicated and there's no good skills on it. Now, let's talk about combat, which was a very fun thing in the previous two Tomb Raider games, but was massively messed up here. First of all, there is so little combat, especially in the first, like, 3/4 of the game. There's almost, like, no combat. It is so slowly paced. It is so slow, so boring. So much just climbing and talking and story and walking and ugh. And then when you get to combat, oh my god, I don't know how they managed to ruin it. Combat feels so incredibly stiff. It's the same Tomb Raider combat if you're running around shooting enemies, but for some reason movement and like aiming just feels so stiff, and none of the guns feel satisfying to use. That's a real problem. This combat system is massively unsatisfying, and I just really didn't like it. I don't know how they messed this game up, but it sucks. It's a really disappointing 5 out of 10. Don't bother playing it. And next up, we have Greedfall, which I thought was going to be better than Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Man, am I wrong. I gotta be honest though, I played only 5 hours of this game, and I got so massively bored, like I could not continue. I did not finish this game. I gotta throw that out there. I was so excited. This game has so much potential, but it is all wasted with an absolutely terrible execution. But first, let me just say what's good. The game overall does look really good. And I think it has a lot of interesting side missions in it. I really liked a lot of side missions and how they are very open, doing multiple different choices and all of that. I think this game has some very great dialogue with some very wonderful voice acting. I thought all of that was really great, but it's kind of undermined by how terrible the mouths are of the characters, like the way they move and all that, and the lip syncing and all of that is just absolutely terrible. But still, voice acting and dialogue are good, and I could avoid looking at their mouths. You got some solid armor system and some solid gear system, and that's where my praises end, because there is a lot bad with this game. First of all, the story is fine, like, it's alright, it's not really anything that special, it's okay, and it doesn't really hook you in any way, it's fine, at least from what I experienced, and the characters are almost completely all boring, except I think there's only really one character that I really liked, like, even your main protagonist is really damn boring, but, yeah, and also, I think the skill tree is pretty messed up. Like, I think they have some good skills, at least from, like, with the ones I've seen. But the way the skill tree is set up is you have these tiny icons that, like, don't really have any way of telling you what the skill is about until you go on them. So, like, you can't really get an idea of what that skill is by just looking at it, and that really just makes the process of going through a whole skill tree to see what interests you a big chore that I did not bother doing because there's way too many skills. Like, I feel like a skill tree should be smaller, should be simpler, it should be easy to go through and easy to understand, like similar to how a vampire did it. Now, something really big, a really big problem that comes in with the side missions and main missions is none of the missions have level recommendations on them, which is a massive misstep. Like, oh my god. Like, cause I went into a mission and I was doing it and I was right at the end and I was faced with an incredibly challenging battle that was for someone who's a level way above me, and I'm like, why didn't the mission tell me that I shouldn't do this? Yeah, why did the mission tell me I should do this? I shouldn't do this mission because it's too high of a level. It just doesn't tell you, and you end up doing so many missions that end up getting way too hard for you. It's a massive misstep that a lot of RPGs should do. But now, let's talk about the biggest problem of this game, the combat. Oh my god. First of all, there's some good ideas. Like, you have a solid combat, like, here. You got regular attacks, heavy attacks, a weapon to take down armor, a weapon to do damage, special ability, healing potion, a gun. Like, you have everything you need for this combat system to be solid, but in the execution, it is terrible. It is so slow, so clunky, so unsmooth, so unsatisfying. Like, let's go back to another comparison, Vampire. When you hit an enemy in that game with a weapon, you do feel like an impact of that weapon. That is not the case here. Smacking something with a sword, you barely feel the impact, and that makes combat feel so incredibly unsatisfying and unfun in itself. And I mean, just watching from the gameplay, you could tell it is so incredibly clunky and unsmooth, and it ruins the game, and I bring it down to a 5 out of 10. What a disappointment this game was. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please subscribe, hit that like button. Thank you for watching, like I said, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.